Before we began filming, we started researching the thriller genre. There are many hybrids within the genre, for example supernatural thriller like The Woman in Black, and murder mysteries such as Seven, which inspired our mise en scène. We looked more closely into psychological thriller as they appealed to the group the most, especially Black Swan, which depicted a vulnerable girl descending into mental disorder.
Another film, Memento, plays with time using non-linear narratives, including flashbacks. Some of the ways in which we have fulfilled the conventions of the thriller genre are by using camera angles that create a sense of tension and enigma. The representation of a young woman on her own in the wilderness is something one would expect to see in this type of film. Furthermore, the mise-en-scene in the later part of the extract again amplifies the idea of vulnerability and isolation.
We tried to be original in the use of our editing through our use of characters who seemed present and then disappeared. We purposely shot this character out of focus using depth of field to create more tension for the viewer. Her opacity raises the question of whether or not she's real. The slow build in tension from the beginning to the end, where the blood is in the bath, follows the typical aspects of this genre. By employing conventional tropes of successful hybrid thriller films, we have worked within those boundaries, yet through the use of camera and subtle editing, the film also does something aesthetically interesting and original.
We would be an independent British film production company based in London writing a topical current zeitgeist storyline with a twist. We would be working on a low budget typical of an independent film, however our film would have high production value.
We would need a distributor and would premiere our film at a film festival. We would follow that with a multi-platform release using social media marketing to achieve word of mouth, meaning that we would have more funding for our next film.
We use below-the-line marketing as used in the film Lock, which is an example of a similar independent film that what ours would be. We would aim to distribute our film through BFI, Curzon Cinema, Artificial Eye, and use terrestrial television deals with BBC or Film 4. Our main target will be British distributors looking for new, interesting films and new talent.
Our target audience from our film would be aimed towards the younger generation due to the protagonist being a teenage girl. However, due to the storyline and the genre of thriller, this could attract audiences of any age depending on their movie preference.
Our primary target audience would be 15 to 25 years old, our secondary audience being 26 to 35 years old. Our tertiary audience would be middle class English art film audiences, all fitting under the category of mainstream audience.
We attracted our audience through visual aesthetics like depth of field, which is synonymous with art house films, recognisable due to the main protagonist, mise-en-scène, the house middle-class upmarket.
The costume and makeup of the girl appeal to the teenage market, as does the modern music, sound effects and soundscape sound, all of which are conventionally chilling.
The font also has a modern edge while also having familiarity in the terms of art house film audiences.
We have learned how to use Final Cut Pro for editing sound, pace and story. We have also furthered our knowledge of cameras, lenses, aperture, focal lengths, depth of field, blurred focus and point of view. We also used tripods, a shoulder mount which acted like a Steadicam in order to do tracking for our protagonist.
We did research using websites such as Art of the Title, IMDb and BFI.
We use social media for planning. For example, we used a Facebook group to arrange the practicalities and ensure that we didn't run into any unexpected problems on the day. We also used our phones, which we had our storyboards and shot lists on to check accuracy.
We learned many things when filming our preliminary tasks, such as over-shoulder shots, shot reverse shot, 180 shot and eyeline match. We also used linear continuity editing. This gave us the basic skills required to progress for our opening.
During the making of our opening, our filming and editing skills progressed greatly. We used varied camera angles including high and low, tracking, panning, and we played with zoom and depth of field. We experimented with layering of audio, score, sound effects and Foley.
We really improved our planning abilities as we found our location and took recce shots early in the process. We made detailed mood boards which helped capture the mise-en-scène and the perfect atmosphere. We became much more reliable and responsible, taking ownership of our film and meeting all the deadlines. We used the non-linear storyline and created a treatment for the whole film, screenwriting what was in it.
Our media product presents teenagers in a certain way due to the way the main character is presented, with her clothing and the fact that she is smoking. In particular, our film shows how teenage girls are vulnerable, and it could possibly be seen as stereotypical, showing a young girl on her own in the middle of an isolated wood looking anxious.
Our film also represents a supernatural, metaphysical revisitation of an abusive mother. This represents the breaking down of family dynamics, which much of the audience is interested in, and few can relate to. We subtly introduce moments of abnormality, which foreshadows the later events in the film. The opening is very vague and suggestive. An enigma is suggested through the slow reveal of the storyline, without giving away too much in the opening sequence.
We have a female-orientated storyline which portrays an atypical mother-daughter relationship.